Hi, this is Steve Leone. We're at Intersolar North America 2012 in San Francisco. And I'm here with Ben Santarris, who is a spokesperson for SolarWorld. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So we're steadily approaching a year now. In October, it was the trade case was filed that certainly put your company in the center of the news and the ongoing issue of panel cost. And since then, we've had two preliminary determinations, one on countervailing duties and one anti-dumping. The anti-dumping was much, much larger and is really seen as kind of the driving force there. So we're going on quite some time now, but really we're at the very beginning of kind of trying to gauge the impacts and what's happening out there. Why don't you give us at least a brief analysis of what you're seeing on the ground, just in the short time since the tariffs have been enacted.
Okay, great. Yeah, we have seen. It's been since May 20th that we had the anti-dumping preliminary determination, and since then we've seen anecdotally some enforcement actions, kind of a grab bag of different things, and some of those have received some publicity, some of them haven't. We've also seen in April, which was the first full month after the anti-subsidy duty determination, the amount of Chinese exports into the United States fall by a considerable amount. So that's a positive sign from the standpoint of getting the distortions out of the solar market. But it's really only been about a little more than a month since the May 20th anti-dumping determination. And our impression is that there are a lot of companies that really don't understand how the trade cases work. So they're making various claims that may be a little risky to be making. And yet we still have 3 months left to fight this case. And the case doesn't conclude until November 7th. So we're still midstream in the case. There is a lot of disinformation. There is some innocence or ignorance about how trade cases work. And so, we're really at the beginning part, as you said, in the enforcement phase.
Okay, certainly if you ask most major manufacturers that are sending their panels into the U.S., they're citing the supply chain and their broad supply chains, and they're able to source cells from outside China and then ship them in to make compliant exports. What kind of impact would that have on your stated goal was to have panels hit with tariffs?
Yeah, I mean, our real goal is to remove government interference in the solar market of the United States. In other words, foreign government interference. Shouldn't be up to a government to determine the winners and losers of a foreign domestic market. And there is a lot of talk about what we call circumvention, which is circumventing the effect of the trade remedies that the Department of Commerce will find.
I have to say, in a legal way. In a legal way,
right. And so the Department of Commerce made a preliminary determination that defined the scope of the case at the cell level, meaning the subject tariffs or the subject product would be products including cells manufactured in China, but not in other countries. So if a Chinese manufacturer somehow tolled out or otherwise gained cells from another country, at this point, those manufacturers might conclude that they are safe and free of tariffs. But again, this determination on scope was preliminary. And just as our opposition is arguing many of the findings in that determination, we will continue to argue that that scope is wrong. We favor a broader scope, and we will continue to argue for a broader scope until a final determination. If we look at the final determination, which is on October 9th, if we also get the narrower scope there, then we will see what happens. But there are a separate set of legal tools for closing up circumvention on the enforcement side. And I'm not going to be too specific about what we would do. I would only say that we are not finished with this battle yet. Our goal is to take distortion out of the market that is affecting every part of the value chain, as well as services and analysis and stocks and so forth, and get back to some kind of rational combination of supply and demand.
So you would say that third-party agreements with cells imported into China adds to the distortion of the U.S. market?
I would say that it depends. I would say that if it will depend on how, first of all, we believe in a broader scope because we believe in removing the government of China from free trade in the world, well, at least in the United States. And that is, first of all, a matter of scope. So we favor a broader scope than what was given in the preliminary, but we will still fight that. And then if we get to a preliminary or a final determination, we have the same scope, then we will continue to watch how circumvention of the trade remedies is taking place, and where it is applicable, we will continue to fight on the enforcement side.
Okay.
I mean, what I would say is, if you're asking about the effect, I think that there's a lot of misunderstanding about how the trade cases work in the market. For example, some people think, well, there's a preliminary determination of between 31% and 35% of tariffs. Well, there are some issues that have yet to be addressed, even some allegations on subsidies that haven't even been addressed. Those will be addressed in the final determination. Then there will be a final determination and final duty determinations, but even those won't be final, because the subject period for the purposes of these determinations is the last 9 months of 2011. But meantime, product is still being sold, and in many cases, the dumping is continuing and even being accentuated. So it will actually be a year or a year and a half for some producers before they find out what their final settlement of duties will be.
Okay, so there's still a lot to shake out and a lot of processes to go through, and it sounds like potentially either some arguing at the DOC level or perhaps some appeals.
That's true.
Okay, let's talk about the impact on your brand. I can't imagine it's what a company necessarily wants is to have a pretty vocal, large section of the American solar industry, kind of coalesce and make you the target of what they see as a movement to restrict growth in the American market. Has there been a long-term impact on that, and how have you addressed that?
Well, our booth is quite big this year. It's quite long, and it's filled with customers. You said vocal and large. It's certainly vocal. I don't know how large it really is. Our coalition is quite a bit bigger. We have more downstream providers in our coalition than the opposition has in its entire membership. We know that not everybody is happy. But we have been in the position of doing something we never wanted to do, but we don't have any business ties to China, so we were in a position to do it. We took a stand. We are trying to remove distortion from the market, which is being quite harmful to almost everyone. And we will see, I suppose, in history how we look, whether we are looked at as a leader or a spoiler. So far, we have enjoyed quite a bit overt support and quite a bit of silent support. This is a kind of a case where you really can't even file a case without more than a majority, more than 50% of the industry support in the first place, and we had that. And many of the companies in our direct coalition are anonymous, and there are yet other manufacturers that support our case but can't do so overtly.
Okay. All right. Well, great. I appreciate your time. We'll certainly be following this in the months ahead. So thanks for stopping by.
All right. Thank you very much.